Hey, Shimona.
Hey Nixie, we're on my YouTube, so I be trying to be incognito until you get started. How you been?
Good. A little tired, but it's a good time. Just been very busy.
Well, that tiredness comes with vigilante work, when you're out there fighting crime,
Telling you, man,
saving lives.
Batman don't, he got to raise the pay rate this time, man. It's too low. It's too low.
Yo,
How about you, boo? How have you been?
same, tired, just trying to make it like it was the
Oh,
way it used to be.
that's my song. One of several.
I know. We gotta have us a 90s party.
I'm gonna save that idea. I like it.
90s party. Nothing but 90s music. I want to say 70s to 90s. Let's do that.
Yeah.
70s to 90s. Um, Let me just do the Instagram. Hey Instagram, it's Monday Night Chat with SK. It's your girl SK. And tonight we're going to be having a conversation about what women really want. Part 3. This is my third contribution to this conversation in honor of Women's History Month. And I have with me right now the lovely Denik Sakar. And later we're going to have a few more ladies join us for our conversation. So stay tuned. And as you wait for us to get started at the conversation, I would love for you to share what you think women really want. And let's see how we can debunk some of these myths for you tonight so that you are clear on what it is that we want. Denixa, thank you so much for joining. And like I said, we'll wait for the other ladies to join. But while I have you here, introduce yourself to the audience, tell them what you're up to, and what are you most proud of when you think of being a woman?
I would love to share that out. So currently I am a school counseling student at NYU. This is my last semester. So after this, I will be practicing school counseling and all the decisions will be on me. So yay. But other than that, I've been starting to train for the Brooklyn Half and just making more time to be with my family and friends because without that, everything else can't work. And so when I think about what I'm most proud of to be a woman, I believe it's our nurturing capacity. And nurturing looks different in several ways. We have women who are phenomenal mothers, such as yourself, who not only give to their community, but also pour into your children at the same time, which is not easy. And we need more people to think that way. You also have people who work in nurturing professions like teaching, school counseling, or just your average community member and your average woman who cares about the people in her community and want to see them do well. I think that nurture and that care really helps to make the world go around, and hopefully we'll see more of that in the future.
Yeah, awesome. Yes, for sure. Um, Anyone in the helping field um, has to have some type of nurturing ability because I was just doing a workshop with some of my students around compassion fatigue and how in the caring profession, a lot of times you wear these badges of honor, like, oh, I stayed at work, a double shift, or um, I stayed later to help such and such, and I did, hey, and I did this, and you wear like these little badges. But in the reality, while you're putting these badges on, are you really taking care of yourself? Are you putting the mask on yourself so that you can help others? Or are you just trying to, kind of hide the fact that, or justify uh over burning out or being tired all the time, because that's not something that we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to be tired all the time. We get to care for ourselves, and we get to be rested and peaceful. So we have to be very, very careful with that nurturing skill. But it is definitely something that gives women in general a superpower. I think we have some of us, because we know that nothing is all or anything or everything, right? Those extremes. But most of us have this nurturing ability, and to a higher capacity, where we are given the power to be mothers and teachers and guidance counselors and therapists and whatever way in which you use that superpower. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna stick with that superpower, and being nurturing. And speaking of like compassion fatigue, I feel a little bit myself of that compassion fatigue, where I'm not so much in the, like, I do teach and I do connect with folks, but I gotta tell you, there are times when I am ending the day, and after having to be empathetic and patient and caring, at the end of the day, I am so irritable and frustrated. And those are signs of compassion fatigue, so yeah. But I want to get the conversation started in the interest of time. So I'm gonna go through the questions with you, and when our fellow ladies join, we'll go ahead and involve them in the conversation. So I sent you on a list of questions. You know me, I like to veer off into the distance sometimes, but I would like to, highlight these questions because to me, they're very integral and they're very important questions that sometimes we don't even ask ourselves. So because we're so focused on the roles we're playing in the individuals who we impact and interact with. I don't know if you remember doing the time management workshop with me that time.
No.
So it was a while ago. I remember it. This was when I was first trying to, dip and dab into the life coaching thing. And I remember I asked you and my sister to go up to the board and write all of the titles you had. And I remember my sister had all of these familial titles, and you had a lot of like more, um, I would say, self-focused roles. Like she was mother, sister, aunt, wife, blah, 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 right? And you were like runner, health buff, you know, racer, like, it was like, and there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong in that. And so my question to you, which, like I said, you've already kind of like showed me you have that connection, is who are you outside of the roles you play for the people in your life?
I would say outside of the roles that I play, I would like to describe myself as a person who is determined, persistent. Use that word with students all the time when I tell them and describe the ways I'm going to help them. I'm like, look, I'm very persistent. So that's something that you should expect from me, but also caring and compassionate and a deep thinker. And I also like to expand that to some of my familial roles because those also make me who I am as well. So being a mother, being, well, hopefully one day a mother, being being a
Ooh.
daughter, big sister, auntie.
Mhm.
Auntie is one of my favorites.
Mm,
Um, so kind of like I'm in a space right now where I'm conscious that my life is my own and like describing myself and my characteristics, but also realizing that, and also friend. I forgot
mhm,
that important title
mhm,
and how all those things make me me and how those personal attributes, those are things I do my best to bring into the relationships that I have.
mhm. And those are they although those titles are extremely important, in my conversation, so I've been doing this for uh well, I've been doing this for 2 years. But talking to women and having these conversations about who you are, you oftentimes get these titles of like mother, this and that. And we have such a big essence, right? Without, those roles. So like if you were, of course, if you were born into the world, you have to be a daughter, right? Like, I mean, you don't have to be like, according to our new identifiers, you don't have to be a daughter, but I'm just saying you're a child, right? You're someone's child, right? But it's like as soon as you come into the world, someone is giving you a label and you have not yet identified your person, right? Your essence, who you are with before someone tells you who you are, before someone said you're Denixa, before someone said you're a girl, before someone said you're my daughter, before someone said you're my granddaughter, my niece, my sister, whatever, right? When we came into this world, we already had an essence. And it's like from those labels and titles, we've lost some of that because we're so connected to those ways of being that we forget that we're a whole person without them, right? Um, and so that's why that question was really important for me to have individuals answer. And so with that said, like how would you describe your journey in, into womanhood? Like, um, for instance, for me, my journey into womanhood came very late in my life. It didn't happen when I was born. It didn't happen when I got my first period. It didn't even happen when I had my first child. um I didn't really identify with being a woman until I lost my ability to have children. Actually, it was an integral moment in my life where I had to really think about, okay, wait a minute, I no longer have the ability to have children. What makes me a woman? What makes me still this essence? And I started to think about that, and like what came up for me was my sensualness, my sexual prowess, my my curves, the tone of my voice, my hair, the way I stride, the way I articulate words and expression, you know, my favorite color is pink. you know, and I started to think about like, oh, I really like being a woman, because I hated it when I was getting my period. I hated it. I didn't want to be a girl anymore. But I had to start really like thinking of the adjectives and things that really connect me to my womanhood that didn't require me to be to participate in something, right? Like being a mother or having a child. Because when you don't find that space, you get caught up in not feeling like a woman. Because now, uh, like with me having a hysterectomy, one of the things that came up for me is, oh, I'm a half a woman, you know. Um, so I'm gonna let you talk more about that. Like, what was your journey in, and it doesn't have to look like mine. It could have been when you were a little girl. It could have been when, or when you transitioned. But what was your journey like? When did you say, wow?
That is a really interesting question. I love that question, Shimona. Short answer is more recently I've been embracing my journey into womanhood. When I was younger, I think I was just trying to fit into other people's. definitions of what being a girl or being a young woman is. And for a while, I would say until recently, I felt very out of place because I'm a tomboy. I like sports. I like to get my hands dirty. And then sometimes thinking about all like I guess the girly stuff used to make me used to make me squeal. And like for a while I felt like I rebelled against that because I felt like that was what society was trying to tell me that I should be.
Hmm.
And it was more recently where I realized that there's no one journey to being a woman, and that womanhood and being a woman looks different in so many ways. And I began to embrace the girly girl side. Like I got my nails pink.
Pink
Felt
is
like
pink is women. You
I,
know, some girls would be like, okay, pink is not an indication of womanhood, but it just to me, it just makes me feel dainty. But I love, a lot of us grew up, with that tomboy kind of like connotation in how we express ourselves or our behaviors. But what I love is honestly, when I look at you, the next, so like when I'm around you, because I look at different things, right? Some people will probably look at you like, oh, that's the next stuff. She has locks, blah, blah, blah. When I look at you, I look at how dainty you pick up a napkin or go in your wallet or how you texting on your phone. It to me, I see so much daintiness. So when you say your tongue, I'm like, how she was doing that boy? Was she like, mm. like, you know, mm, you
you know,
know, and
I, I tell people now, I'll tell people I'm a tomboy with standards, right? So
you're like a
I
stallion.
right, like I grew up and you've met my mom, so you know where I get those
Hmm.
mannerisms from. And she's sort of the same way, very much a tomboy, can dribble up and down the court with a basketball, but can also dress nicely, which forks to eat and just how to be um presentable. I guess you could say presentable in that way. But I never knew you felt that way. That's so interesting. Sometimes.
It's just like it's still like I'm kind of rough on the edges. I am a little rough. I grab things, throw things, I'm like a brat kind of like type of girl. Um, but it's like, I like when things look neat and pretty, but I will come in the house and just toss everything around. Um, but the other thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something I talk with the other women about, is um talk to me about some of the myths that you've heard about what women want.
Okay, I've heard a lot of them. I've heard things like women want control, women want to be controlling, um, some women want more power at the expense of other people. So some of it has been like very negative. And I can
Mhm.
understand that, in some ways, some women, that's the way they practice their femininity and womanhood, which can be at odds with other women or with other men.
Mhm.
But the most I've heard is, oh, women just want power and they want to control everything.
They want to control everything. Yeah, I've heard women want money, women want big booties and big boobs. Control and power is a big one. Like there is this idea that women just want to take control. And I think control and power has been misconstrued. I I believe that this idea that women want power and control comes from our lack of equality and equity, right? And sometimes when you're in the back of the room and you can't be heard in the front of the room, you got to scream, yell, knock stuff down, throw pillows, throw chairs in order to be heard. And it comes off like wanting control when in fact it's just wanting to be heard, right? Not saying that everything in every advocacy group or every form of this need for a voice comes off in a way that says that, but it's almost like you got to think of it as unhealed trauma. If after generation of generation of generation of generation of generation being left back and not being heard, you get irritated, frustrated, and you get angry, and so now you're just blowing up. And this is more so for Black women, right? When you think of it, like I've told people before in conversation that I feel like, there are times when Black women are considered fourth class citizens in this country because we have to come after the white man, the Black man, the white woman, and then here comes the Black woman, or in the diaspora, right? And that means all of us that are not white. Sorry, the rest of y'all. That's what it is. This is how America runs. I didn't make the rules. And so when 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 that saying women want power, women want control, it's to me, and I would like for those who feel that way to look at it from a different perspective of if you were not being heard, if you were not getting enough, if you were being deprived, you were at a deficit and you felt lack, you would be angry too, right? And you would be screaming for more. Yes. So we don't want power, we want equity. And that's equal power, right? Or at least a chance at whatever power, what the benefits of power, right? So my next question is, how do you think women contribute to some of these theories about what it is that we want?
I think it's the ways that women express those needs. I've seen some women where they are in a rush to get everything off their head, or they want to be the one to, I guess, strike first. And considering the factors of trauma and lived experience. So I think sometimes it's the way that women go about it, that kind of creates an impression in people's minds, like, "Whoa, this lady is a control freak. She she's doing too much." And it could really be her delivery and how she expresses those needs, because sometimes our desire for control is a desire for respect, like respect
Mm-hmm.
me, um, not worship me, although some women who think they're a god and to be worshipped, but that's a whole nother topic.
Whole other topic. And
Right.
that and to be honest with you, um, so there's an argument or there's a debate amongst people in the mental health community, in the peer community, that this idea that mental health is connected to uh violence or crime, right? And the idea is that people commit crimes, just not necessarily people with mental illness commit crimes, right? And sometimes people with mental illness may commit a crime, right? But making the two parallel creates a different type of narrative. And I think when we talk about women and when we talk about, how certain women behave, it is going to be key for us in how we communicate that, because you know that person could very well have that type of behavior or perspective or whatever, and it has nothing to do with them being a woman. They're just so happen to be a woman and just so happen to be angry and want power and want people to worship. And I think the other parallel that keeps happening is, um there are some women who are very angry based on either how they were treated when they were younger, how they were left out, how they were. Think about it, there's a whole generation of women in the 80s and 90s that were told that if they expressed themselves sexually, they were hoes. So now women have found this liberation and they're speaking out like, hey, I get to choose my body, my choice. And now it's the world is so sexualized. And so it's like when we have these parallels, we miss the message in between. Yes, some people go a little too far. No, you don't need to have your booty on camera every other week. No, you don't. Every video don't have to have you in your lingerie. You know, some stuff should be kept for you and Jerome. However, however, to say, oh, women did is like now all of us, everybody's under this one umbrella, right? Just say what it is. Tashonda, whoever TT, whoever her name is, she's online with her lingerie, not women, you know? And I don't even like the term them women. No. Call woman A and woman B, C, whoever. That's a isolate those situations. Because when we parallel these statements and these narratives, it's difficult to debunk the myths. Because now we've created this what you call it, this now subculture that now we can build statistics around. Oh, 80% of women be on TikTok with their lingerie. You know what I'm saying? So what are some other ways that you feel like women have contributed? You know, we just talked about social media, we talked about um just people natural behavior. Do you think generationally or our family um traditions, like traditions ain't only just Thanksgiving, some of our family traditions are bad mouthing each other? What do you think about that?
Oh, yes, especially I think of the term um bonchinche, and that's a Spanish word meaning like gossip or gossiper. And in families and in every family, regardless of identity, you always have that rumor mill going. You always have that one person just ginning it up, like, hey, you heard about so and so? Oh, really? Then it becomes a whole hour about why this person is the way they are. And I think in terms of women and females and families, it's if you're like a licentious woman, which is a nice way to say that you got your goods out there. Let's just say
Like, was it like chenches?
licentious.
Like, okay, you're gonna have to text me that and spell it.
Yeah. So if you are a licentious woman in your family, guess what? The whole family, and if you have family in other countries, families in both countries will know that you're a licentious woman, which, it's not a good thing to be. I mean, let's be honest, but at the same time, like that, sometimes women's behavior gets discussed in this rumor mill that is the family. And sometimes certain discussions can help, like to that licentious woman. You could be like, hey, instead of talking about her, be like, hey, you really shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be
Right.
giving out the goods.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing about like that is because there's so much to unpack, right? It's so much to pull away. Because when you think about that, you know, when we're born, you know, people say you're born pretty much naked. And it's our, how you call it, domestic rules that say that you're supposed to cover X amount of, you know, like no one would say anything about me having on this short sleeve shirt. I'm showing skin. It is what it is, right? Even if I had on some shorts, they got to be what grandma said above the knee, you know? And, you know, no one would say too much about that. What I think it becomes a different conversation is that when you judge someone's character by the inches away from their knee, their shorts are, right? You never know. Somebody could have on capris and do the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Never show a skin. Well, freaking mink and have some unsavory behaviors. Whereas someone who just admires their body and loves their skin, loves the summer, may have allergic reaction to clothes. I don't know. So it's like I always find myself in that middle objective place. I never buy into something totally. Either way, I'm not totally bought into the idea that because I believe that the body is a form of art, right? It is all how you express yourself. Because we'll see, what is it, Greek art, where the statues are butt bowl naked, and people honor those statues, like, oh, look at that Picasso or whatever, whoever sculpted those, right? Or some other painting where some famous person sculpted a naked person, and people honor it, they're paying millions and millions of dollars. And then you see a young woman who decided to put um a bikini top or something, and she takes a photo, and it's like, oh my god, the blasphemy. Ugh. So it's like, where do we find that sweet spot where we can have if you're going to talk to somebody about being more, covering up more, where do you find that sweet spot, and where it's give not giving, because I don't think you give anybody agency, but having them acknowledge they have agency over their body, but at the same time, you know sharing with them that you might want to find a be more careful, and like, of how you express that, right? It's like, I don't know what the sweet spot is. I'm just saying, maybe we can find one, so where it doesn't feel judgmental, but at the same time it's celebrating, like, your boldness, your bravery, your expression, your creativity, or whatever, right? um so how do you think we can change the narratives?
I think we can start changing the narratives by building our own within our own communities of women and expanding outwards. I think one of the things that's important for all of us to cultivate as women with each other is honesty. So
Mm-hmm.
if you see, and I use the word sister in a way like to talk about sisterhood, right? So if you see your sister out there, right, and let's say you're in the you're in the office, and homegirl got some tight pants on, and maybe her outfit is like maybe more suited for a different place. You really, I think in that scenario, let's say at the workplace, you have two options. Well, you can pretty much keep your opinion to yourself because it is the workplace. But if it's like a friend, or kind of like those social gray areas, see, you
Mm-hmm.
have an avenue where you can talk to that person and talk to them about the importance of the time and place for clothing, right? So, for example, if you see a sister out there, it's like, hey, maybe that outfit is more, that outfit's more suited for a club. And then, if you want to be, for example, taken seriously in the professional world, that's not it. But, if you want to go to a club or you're on vacation, do you? Because
Mm-hmm.
I think if, you know, and it's also how you deliver the feedback too. I'm more of I would say kind, but direct and to the point type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like other people have like different styles. So it really depends on your style of giving feedback. But if you see the opportunity, do it. And also, if you see the opportunity, try to mentor young women, because society and media has ways of telling young women what they should be. And a lot of those ways where we might think they're helpful, they're really not. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
like how you give feedback, and also understand what is the purpose of your feedback. If you're just out here just to be, a jerk and just call someone, excuse my language, if you call someone a hoe, that's not going to get that person to change. And it's probably going to cause more conflicts than it solves. So I think the way you give feedback to that person and how you give it is important. Now, if they take it, it's up to them. And
Right.
if they don't, maybe life will show them in ways that maybe you couldn't, but it's I think it's really just getting in touch with the women that you know. And if you feel bold and feel confident, so reaching out to women that you don't know and providing that honest feedback, because honesty, to be honest, is is how we grow, is how we develop. And I
Mhm.
think if we don't have that compassionate honesty in our communications, then it's just more of the same, like, well, you should do this or you should do that.
Right. It's all about delivery. Like you
Exactly.
said, like knowing who you're talking to and being being clear on like what is your goal here? Are you saying it to them because you want to be malicious or you trying to be catty? Or are you saying it because you really want them to learn and grow? Is this a growth opportunity for them? Is this a place where you want them to see your point of view or your perspective, and knowing that this is your point of view, this is your perspective. They don't have to respect it. Go in with it. You know what? You know, I feel based on what I'm seeing and the attention that you're getting and on the environment, like say it's at work, based on our company's dress code, and you've gotten written up twice already about this, that maybe you should try to change your dress, the way you dress. I can go with you to pick out a few things. You can still have your same, like it's about delivery. How we talk to each other as women is really difficult because the thing is, our subculture of women, we tear each other down a lot more than any other subculture does to us. Um, and and we don't realize it. We talk about it. Sometimes we be like, oh, women will put you down more than anybody else. Women need to stick together, and we need to be authentic and real about that. It's a real thing. And if we don't get to the point where we can have honest conversations with each other, we'll continue this cycle of disconnect. However, I was telling someone the other day, sometimes the reason why there's a disconnect is because we individually have unhealed trauma. We have unhealed trauma, so we can't hear because the trauma, let's say that my hand is the trauma and you're trying to talk to me, that I can't see what you're trying to say because I'm blinded by something telling me, she's telling me I'm not good enough again. She's telling me that I'm unworthy. She's telling me that I'm ugly. And all the things that were said to me based on that trauma is blocking you from sharing a positive message to me to help me have an area of growth, to show compassion and care for me. So what happens because there's this blocker, there's conflict. I can't see, Pat. I can't see. So all I see here is you coming to me sideways, literally, right? And so react. I'm gonna react based on this unhealed trauma, right? You're tapping into that. Your words, although your delivery is to help me learn and grow, although your delivery is to help me feel better, um, I can't see it. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get someone else in here. So my next question is, um, sorry. So my next question for you is going back to your culture. What what are some things in your culture that are discussed around women? Like, are women celebrated in your culture? Are women, you know, put down in your culture? Like, what is the, for example, right? I don't know if this is still the case, but uh when I believe it's in Chinese culture, having a female child was, if you look at what Mulan was it, um, having a female child was dishonoring the family or wasn't a gift. They wanted a male child. And if you look at that in the royal family, an heir is a son. So like in your culture, are women celebrated?
That's an interesting question. When I think about, I'll say specifically my experiences with my Panamanian and Puerto Rican culture, I would say it's several things. Women as a whole, at least my impression is that they are celebrated. There's a lot of songs about, that woman who walks in and she got it all. And then you also have perceptions of women as like, oh, look at this, like Diabla, this devil, is she devil who, devours men and, who pretty much wants things her way or the highway. Then you also have, and it really dip. I mean, these are just my experiences. Like for mine, it was mostly like women were expected to do certain roles because that's the roles that women play as far as like um doing things in the house and child rearing.
Mhm.
But then I also see overall that women are phenomenal. Doesn't matter if, you work cleaning offices and or you're a woman in the Panamanian police force. Every women are seen as contributing to their communities and really, most importantly, want to pass on the culture. So, for example, you'll typically see moms, especially in Brooklyn and the Panamanian community, some people getting their kids into like typical like folkloric dances or sending or making sure kids travel to Panama to connect with their roots. So it's a mixed bag from my perspective. I would say for the most part, just my experience is that women are celebrated, but then also women can also inflict harm too as well.
Mhm.
So there's differing perceptions, and I think it's just different, but depending on who you ask, like you'll get a different answer out of my mom than you would me. But I think I think
Well, that's
overall,
always going to be a generational thing.
yeah. But I think
Yeah.
overall it's like it's a mixed bag, but for the most part, women are proud to be women and do the things that women do.
Oh, there I go. Okay, I'm on. I'm on. Okay. I'm hanging up on this. I'm on this. Okay. I'm on it. So I'm gonna bring you into the conference. I'm probably echoing. Okay. Something's going on. Can you hear me on my laptop? You can? Okay. I can hear you twice. All right. I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna hang up on my phone.
So,
I got you
so
on
Vanessa and I was having a conversation, so I'm gonna bring you into it. So I've been doing this for the full month, because I want to get the record straight about what it is that women really want. And I know that we're still, trying to figure this thing out because what I found out in my conversations with a lot of women that they haven't really thought about it, what it is that they really want. A lot of us connect ourselves to the things that people told us that we wanted, right? You want kids, you want a career, you want this and that. And so the question I asked Danixa is, outside of your roles of wife, mother, daughter, sister, who are you as a woman?
Oh my gosh, the list goes on. I'm amazing. I'm Black. I'm phenomenal. I am strong. I am a people person. I am considerate. I am kind. I'm generous. I'm thoughtful. I'm intelligent. I have integrity. Like it's so many, like the list goes on of things about me, right? I can talk about me forever, right? And first, let me start off by apologizing to you because your time is important, and I don't want to make you feel like it wasn't. Today has been a day, right? And
I get it.
and it did. I said, man, I need like 2 more hours in the day. You know, 25, a 26-hour day. Like I need more time in the day. There's just not enough hours in the day. 7 o'clock came quick for me because it's 8 your time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you should have told me that because I would have been more conscious of letting you know stuff too. I keep forgetting your timeline is off.
It's okay. It's okay. And I felt so bad because I was like, I want to jump in this Zoom. What I want outside of my kids to be straight, my husband to love me unconditionally, I want to stand on my own. I want to, and this has nothing to do with, the people around me. This is everything to do with me. I'm successful. I retire in December coming up. My legacy means everything to me.
Legacy.
Yes, my legacy means everything to me. I used to walk around the jail and ask inmates, what's your dash? They didn't know what I was talking about. I would ask men and women, what's your dash? There's a date on your tombstone when you were born and when you died, but that dash is your life. What's your dash? Who are you? Right? And so when I asked them, when I come back in here tomorrow, I want to know about your dash. Oh my God, they had essays written of who they were before they got incarcerated, who they were before they got on drugs, who they were before they committed these crimes. And it made all of them cry, men and women. Whenever I would ask, whatever unit I was in, they would cry and look at, man, I had accomplished so many things. And so outside of my work, I just started creating cups, right? I started this thing. Beautiful. Oh, thank you. And they're taking off like, oh my, I'm like, oh, I got these orders, right? I want to be unique. I want to be genuine with people, but I also want to be, I want to be who I want people to be to me. Right? Those things. I don't want to treat you like shit, but want you to treat me great. Right. The universe is not designed that way. Right? And so I want to be reflective of my circle. I want people to love on me like I love on them. I would hate if ever someone had something to say about me, and they're gonna do it, but it wasn't positive, right? People have an opinion, but I don't want the facts to be that I'm difficult to work with, that I'm an a-hole, that I'm, I don't care. That's not my story. Yeah. So those are all the things. That's what I want. And that's, I want to be looked at that way. That's what I want.
Why I'm shaking my head and I'm smiling is like, my mother gave me her name. And I oftentimes, as I'm watching her, I'm like, people say that, names are, important and they're powerful, but they are, right? Yes. When you name your child, you have to be intentional. And, I'm not saying that people are not still intentional about the names. They're getting real creative with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I see her, I'm just like, I'm coming up behind her.
Yes.
I'm like, yes. Oh yeah, this is what it is. This is what it is. It's not. Yes. It just is. A part. It's like my name is connected to greatness. My name is connected to power.
Thank
My
you.
name is
Thank
connected to
you.
authenticity. My name is connected to that go-getter spirit,
Yes.
figure it out, that creativity. And I watch her and I'm just like, I crack up because I'm like, you know me, Denixa. Denixa is my best friend. So she knows I'm always trying to figure out a way, how am I going to make this next hustle? You know what I'm saying? My creative spirit, like I braid here and I'll, you know, work at a supermarket. It don't matter. I can go and speak to thousands of people in public. I can create curriculum. I can sit in a corporate office. I can do it all, right? Because that's just a part of my essence. And one of my biggest mantras is I'm focused on my legacy.
Yes.
Legacy is important to me. I don't,
yes.
When I go, I want you to say, like you said, this is who Shimona was. I don't want you to just put, you know how you look at people obituary and they got all the mother, 5 grandkids, 7 kids, 10 this and 10 that, and nothing about the person. Nothing.
Come on.
Was born in this place on this day, mother and father leave behind this person, and you never, okay, well, we know they was related to all these people. Who were they? Who were they? And that's
the
not what I
dash.
want on my obituary.
That's
You
the
already
dash.
know who my son is. You already know who my daughter is. You already know who my mother is and my sisters and brothers are. Who am I? My obituary better be all about me. I want a biography on my obituary.
Come on, Shimona, say it.
Don't put it on no paper. I want a video. Show me in action. Show me in real life. That's my obituary. And so I really appreciate you saying that. And it was, you know, I was just telling someone earlier today, I was like, I was a little frustrated because when I was talking to the women this month, I wanted that. I wanted to hear, what is your legacy going to be, without me having to say legacy, without me saying that, because you are those things already. Those are things, like I was just telling Denixa, when you were born in this world, you were somebody's child. You didn't have to sign up to be that. You didn't have to put any work to do that. You didn't have to go nowhere to do that. You didn't have to put in time to do that. You just were somebody's child. Then when your brother or sister was born, you became that sibling. A lot of these roles you just become. The things that, to me, that are big and matter, is the things that you put in the work for.
Now, let me tell you this. It can work for you or it can work against you. What happens to people is they think that their title entitles them. And it does not. So because they're your cousin, or because they're your sister, or because they're your friend, they think that they can do and say, and that your title does not entitle you. It does not, right? And so
Put that up.
And so you have to make sure that people are genuine that are around you. The biggest lesson that I've ever learned in my life, I was 16 years old when I learned it. You there, Shimona? Okay. I was 16 years old. And I'm telling you right now, I'm 49 and I have moved accordingly from 16. Okay. My aunt said to me, if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. Profound. Don't sit here and beg a friend, boyfriend, homegirl, job. Don't beg anybody to conform or to be like. If they're not going to change, move around.
Sorry about that. People are texting me and yeah, we're back. People kept texting me and it kept popping up on my screen. I was trying to get rid of it and went out the daggone room. But anyway, you were saying something so powerful.
It's okay. I was saying that if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you, right? And so that one little saying in life kept me grounded and kept me intentional with people. Because if you keep doing stupid stuff every time we're around each other, or when we're at work, you draw attention because you messy and you got too much going on. I'm getting away from that. I'm getting away from that. And it's really hard because in law enforcement, that's what I do. In law enforcement, people, it's just like anywhere else, any other job. But you got your coworkers that are enforcing the law, breaking the law. Okay, it's a real thing.
Yep.
And I'm coming out with my novel, and it's called The Blackest Blue. Yes.
I can't wait.
Blue. And I am really, it is difficult to be Black in law enforcement. Black and blue is it's hard. And so what I want, speaking of what women want, I want equality, because it doesn't exist in law enforcement. I'm a double minority. I'm a Black woman and got the nerve to be down here in Texas.
You wasn't playing.
But you know what? You have to stay planted. You have to stand firm on who you are. You don't have to be a bitch. You don't have to be, but sometimes it's necessary to kill a fly with a sledgehammer.
Yep.
Sometimes it's necessary.
And we were just talking about that. It's funny, you like kind of hit like all the points we talked about before you came on. We were talking about that, how, there's this idea that women are angry, or women want power, or women want control. And I was like, it may sound like control. It may sound like we want power, but we just want equality. We want equity. We want a fair share, a fair spot at whatever's there, right? We don't want the door to be cracked. We want it to be open just like it is for everyone else. And as Black women or other, because, some people will separate themselves accordingly, throughout the diaspora. Those of us that are not white, we don't realize that sometimes we're viewed, if you look at how we have to ask for things, we are fourth-class citizens in some states' eyes, in some social structures' eyes. But we have to evoke that, no, we're not going to be fourth-class citizens. We are going to continuously fight for, advocate for, push for, fight for, work for equality. And if that makes you feel like I'm angry, then that's your opinion. But I'm not going to sit quietly. Like I told Danixa, I said, if you're in the back of the room and the people that need to hear you is in the front of the room and they can't hear you, of course you're going to scream. Why would you whisper? Right? You're in the back of the room. There's so much in front of you trying to keep you from being heard. Of course you're going to scream so you can be heard. And if you see that as a pushback or anger, then that's on you, because you're missing the message. And we also talked about how sometimes our unhealed trauma keeps us from talking to each other. We're so focused on what we're not and who trying to get what and who trying to get in front of this and and all that negative self-talk, that when somebody is trying to pull you closer and pull you with them, you're not, or help you have a growth opportunity, you can't see it or hear it because you're so focused on this unhealed trauma. You're so focused on not being enough.
One of my favorite things to respond with, I've had people say to me, "Oh, you're so intimidating." And I say, "I'm not intimidating. You're intimidated. There's a difference." I didn't do anything. I walked in the room. And that frightened you. That has nothing to do with me.
For you, then it's you.
Right. That has nothing to do with me.
Build your capacity to absorb me, darling.
In all of my splendor.
I get it too. I get it too. And it's like, my 5'2", frame is like, especially in corporate, Denise will tell you, in corporate, we used to work for an organization. I was with the organization from when it was only 8 people on staff to when it grew to almost over 100 people. And when it grew, everybody, they got higher positions than me. They were directors and vice presidents and program coordinators or whatever they was. But everybody was so focused on me, the little brown girl from Brownsville. Why? Why is my
because you walk with authority. And anytime you walk in a room, your head is not down, you're not meek, and you're not afraid. And it kills me when they say, oh, well, you got to go talk to the big boss, or you got to go talk to the sheriff. And I'm like, oh, because they didn't put their pants on one leg at a time like I did this morning. Which office do I need to walk into? That doesn't make me afraid to speak. This person is a human being.
Right.
This is how I identify. My name is Shimona. That's how I identify. It's not lieutenant. It's not sergeant. It's not officer. It's Shimona. That's my name. So I'm me, right? I'm not gonna get in the ground with no titles.
Right. Well, you're gonna get that little flag thing and they're gonna shoot those guns.
Yeah, but guess what? If you look on a tombstone, it don't say Mrs. It just say your fucking name.
Yep.
You go with no titles.
You put beloved wife.
But yes, it'll say that. But you go out the same way you came in.
With your first and last name.
No titles. Yep. No titles.
Nope.
Okay. So I don't get like all wrapped up in, oh, I'm such and such, and you have to address me as such.
Right. And that's how people were. This one lady told me, how dare you talk to the CEO like that? I'm like, and I said his name. I was like, who, huh? Like,
who, Chris? You talking about Chris?
Like that. Like this man has been to my kid's birthday party. This man has, like I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean I can't talk to him? Just because you don't have that relationship with him, don't control mine. Don't try to control mine. It was like she was appalled. How you talk to the CEO? I was like, because I can.
like a human.
Right.
Because that's one of the things that I love about us. We are who we are. Some people say, well, everywhere you go, there you are. Yes, everywhere I go, I show up as me.
Yep.
I don't have a corporate voice. I don't have all of that. I'm a beat you. But you know what? And it's okay. There's no shade. There's no shade, because if that voice gets you through, and people can't hear color, right? They can with me. My voice says strong Black woman when I get on the phone, right? So I don't have.
Well, that's y'all 70s babies. That's y'all 70s babies. Because my sister's the same way. She says she's the lightest dark skinned person she ever.
I love Denise. That's my girl. I love her. But you look at, and that's another thing. Whether it's corporate America, no matter where it is, we got this thing. We still color struck. We still light skin and dark skin in it. We still us and them in it. We still doing that, and we're still not being accepted. Versus light versus dark. I mean, and I know y'all know and understand that people will accept Danixa before they accept you in a room. They will. And it's so unfortunate, because I'm like, oh no, bitch, we come as a package deal. This is my best friend. Right?
Yeah. And that's how it's been.
Yeah. And they see it as, well, we'll take her. She looks closer to us, and I don't know. I don't allow it. I don't. No, I pay attention. Even when they think I'm not paying attention, I'm definitely paying attention. Right. And one of the things that I also want is I want for people to have more empathy.
Yes.
That's what I want. More
Yes.
empathy, you know.
And they, you know, and this is why I do my podcast. You know, someone told me, she was like, "Oh, your podcast is boring." I said, because it's the things that you don't want to hear. I'm not gonna get up on here and celebrate no celebrity, okay? Ain't no celebrity celebrating me, okay? Number one.
What? I ain't following nobody. What?
On top of that, I know that there are a lot of conversations that we are not having, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna have those conversations that we're not having. You're gonna know that you have unhealed trauma. You're gonna know that it's not okay that this one of my pet peeves. I was just telling somebody the other day. You know, I've been this way my whole life, and this is just who I am. Your whole life?
You ain't got over that yet. You ain't healed from that.
You ain't not like I mean, and I get where it's coming from. It's like there are certain things about me. There's certain things about my character that's not going to change because I stand on my business, right? I get that piece of it. But I'm always going to tell you that I am always an evolution of myself. Who I was 10 years ago, and you thought you was impressed by that? 10 years later, oh, it's on fire. You know, I still may have those characteristics, but
can you see this? Can you see this? I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this? It's a tattoo.
I say never at.
You can't understand that last word, right? No. Because it's written in Arabic. You know what it means?
What it means?
Never at capacity. I'm
all
never
right.
full.
See, I told you.
Never full. I always want more. I always want the next
more.
thing.
I need to grow. And that's why I continue to read. I continue to grow. I continue to evaluate my experiences. Everything. I don't care if it's an encounter with somebody at the grocery store. I'm thinking about, what was that encounter? What did I learn from this experience? Yeah. I know who I show up as sometimes. I know that sometimes my anger is on 1,000, and I'm learning from that. Like, wait, Shimona, maybe you shouldn't go to the grocery store before 11 o'clock. Maybe you should eat something before you go. Maybe you shouldn't have a conversation be on the phone or something with someone who makes you irritated before you do XYZ, because the outcome that's going to happen is you're going to get into conflict with someone who really didn't do anything to you, but because you didn't take care of yourself prior to that, you reacted in that way. Learning experience, thank you, growth. You know, I'm always going to grow. I am never like that at capacity.
Let me ask you a question. When you're in a room with people who are not healthy for you, and you have the opportunity to leave the room, excuse yourself before Brooklyn shows up, do you remove yourself? Are you at a place in your life where you know Brooklyn is waking up?
Yep.
She's real. She lives inside of me. She's a real person.
Yeah,
she is a Mona. Real person, right?
I call her Mona.
So cute.
Mona, she's a firecracker. She don't play. She ain't got time. She don't want to be bothered. She is going to bite your head off. And there are times like, you know, Shimona is more grounded. She's more focused. She's more articulate. She's, you know, she got the words. She got the structure and all that. But Mona is raw.
Now, let me ask you, when Mona is waking up, do you get out of there before you get out of there?
Oh, I have to. I have to protect the money.
Yeah.
I gotta protect the assets, you know?
Yeah. Do you remember when you didn't used to get out of there?
Oh, I don't have a criminal record, but
Right. No, I get it. Yeah. No, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? So there were times where it was just like, you piss me off, reaction. Piss me off, reaction. I'm at you. I'm throwing things, swinging. I'm ready to fight. And then I realized, as I got older and started to appraise my life and realize I had too much to lose, jail was an inconvenience for me.
Look at little me. Look at little me. You make me so proud. Oh my God.
You know, I was proud. Like, oh no, I'm too valuable for that. And I started to, you know, really, really consistently appraise myself and know my value, know my worth. I was gaining equity, you know, self-equity.
Yes.
And so I started to like really think about it. Is this worth my freedom? Is this worth me losing my career that I worked so hard for? Is this, my image is everything to me. People like, oh, it's about what people say. It ain't about what people say. My legacy is going to be consistent. It is not going to be, you know, well, you know, she, but you know, around that time, you know, even when I'm falling short, you can't say that I wasn't vulnerable, I wasn't honest, I wasn't trusting, I wasn't being myself. Even in my moments where I'm not 100%, I'm going to continuously be myself. Even in those moments, I am going to Shimona fail. I'm not going to you fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like submission is in your vocabulary?
I think what I like to do
You
is
shook your head first. You shook your head first. I'm looking at the body language. You shook your head first, and then you stuttered, and
because
then
I'm a little allergic to the word. I'm a little allergic to the word. I am a little.
Really? No. See, we got to tap into that. This is good.
And that's what I like to dissect the word, because I think what happened is I'm basing it on old science, right? On what was told to me submission was, right? But the way it was introduced to me,
okay,
right? I have to define it for myself. What does submission look like for me in my capacity, in my environment? And so when I hear the word, it comes with unhealed trauma.
Oh,
right? It comes with being in a domestic violence relationship. It comes with not feeling like I don't have power. And I don't think submission means that you don't have power. Submission, this woman said it the other day in one of the podcasts. She said, submit to the mission. Right? She said, you're not submitting to a person. You're submitting to the mission. If you're in a situation with someone or a process that has a mission, there's a goal in mind, you're submitting to that. You're putting your full self in it. And so as I dissect that word and finding out what it means for me, I think I can be more comfortable with saying yes or no to
yes. But my first reaction is, you submit to the role of the softness of the woman's feminine side. You submit, you submit to, and not every man is a king. Some are jesters. Okay. Right? Clowns. Straight clowns. So you submit to what the role determines you can be. And if you find yourself, because we submit to our children, they're little terrorists, you know? And we negotiate with them all the time. Without fault. We don't ask no questions, we just do. Right. And I'm now submitting to a grandchild. Yeah, see? She says no, I'd be like, Nala, you want to do your hair? No, okay. Right. What you want to watch on TV? Mickey Mouse. I watched Mickey Mouse for 18 hours straight last weekend. and you will. So submission works in any realm, in any aspect that you put it in, and it makes you soft. And it's okay. Yeah. And it makes you want to be in the best role. So if you submit to your grandchild, you want to be the best grandmother you could be, right? And it's the same thing as girlfriend, wife, sister. It's the role of who you're supposed to be in this relationship with whoever it is. And it's okay to not want to fight everything. And it's okay to say no. And it's okay to say, in your soft girl era, it's okay to say, I don't like that. Right. I don't want that. I'm not a fan of that. Right. Growing up in Brownsville, that thing has taught us some things, and it has also blinded us to a lot of things. We block our own blessings sometimes because I don't trust anything. I research the research. Yep. I tell my children all the time, facts are not facts. I said, everything is up for discussion. Everything you have to research. I said, because things change. Like the math changed in the last 20 years. So I wouldn't have been able to pass this stuff. This stuff they doing now? They drawing pyramids and stuff. I'm like, man, whatever. My daughter, she's my youngest.
And when she was in elementary school, that's when I first started to see it. And I was just like, I don't even know what this is. And I'm not getting ready to do it. I ain't hope not one day with homework. That's why people be like, oh, parents need to be more involved. I'm like, you need to define that for me because I ain't help with no homework. And she was a top student. I ain't did.
Yeah, well, I didn't sit in that classroom all day. You did. I don't know what the teacher said.
Right?
What did they say?
Parents need to be more involved. I'm like, y'all need to define what that looks like. Y'all need to coin that term. Y'all say it all the time. You know, kids are feeling because parents need to be more involved. Like I had 2 AP students and I didn't do no homework.
No. My job is to parent. Your job is to teach. Let's not cross those things up. Right?
We're like a mirror.
You know, it's like
wash no clothes.
Right. It's like a shower and a toilet. Don't mix those two things up. You do one in one thing and you do one in another. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I so love, and I'm sorry again, I'm late for this podcast, but I love what you do. I love the fact that you think about women and you're mindful, thoughtful, considerate, all of those things, and you got your shit together. You are like, or you're ahead of yourself. Like you already are projecting on what's coming and you already are on it. A lot of women, Black women, don't like to go to therapy. This is therapeutic, right? You give women a voice who may not have said anything. You give them a place to think, process, hear other women and say, oh, I didn't look at it that way. Oh, I didn't think about it like that. And so they can get healing coming to your podcast, coming to your Zoom meeting. They can get some kind of understanding that they didn't have before on whatever the topic is.
Yeah.
It's taboo in our community to say I'm in therapy or to say, you know, I'm going through counseling. My girlfriend made me laugh so hard. She told her man that she's going to therapy. And he said, what you need therapy for? She said, well, if you was therapeutic, I wouldn't need no fucking therapy.
Clearly you're not.
Okay.
I need some therapeutic relief. It is so true. I've been in therapy since 2010. And, you know, because of the work that I do, and I've learned a different perspective around having those courageous conversations with people that I'm around connecting with a therapist. I now know that it is a choice. And a lot of people, because when we lack information, we fear it. And because people have this, because we go about the facts that, oh, a therapist is like, someone told me recently, oh, why do you go to someone who tell you how to think? I said, you ever sat in one of my sessions, you know my therapist don't tell me nothing. Right. She listens to what I have to say and she helps me learn language to help me better communicate what I'm feeling. She helps me expand my understanding of the feelings. Like I'm not just sad. What else is coming up for you? I'm feeling inadequate. I feel imposter syndrome. I don't feel like my 100% myself. I'm feeling, isolated.
Pause.
Many words.
What did you just say? Imposter syndrome?
I felt it.
What is that? Oh, teach me. What is that?
So imposter syndrome is this feeling of when you're in a space where you feel like you haven't earned being there or you don't belong. Like you get this job or promotion and every day you like feeling uncomfortable because you feel like I have to continue to prove myself because I have to earn this position because I didn't get it rightfully. I got lucky or,
Oh, nah, I never know. Hell no.
And so I would feel that because for a long time I have a 13-year career in politics and in community organizing. And a lot of folks that sat next to me had college degrees from Brown University, Yale, and all these other different colleges. Teach for America. They had these full educational backgrounds, and I had a GED. But the fact remained, I was sitting in the same room with them, and I was sitting from the table from them.
Listen, it was difficult for me to
get in that mindset of
girl. You better not even ever. Well, I can't tell you how to feel and how to think. Do you know that all of those accolades don't mean shit if you can't perform?
Right.
If you could go to school all fucking for years, excuse me for cursing, you could go to school for years and you know how many people are not working in the degree that they have because
I know this now. So it used to be a big thing for me, and I used to beat myself up. Oh, I gotta go back to school. Go back to school. I wouldn't go for certain positions, but I always was. It was like there was two me's operating in my life. There was the me that was like, I'm gonna email my supervisor about this promotion. I'm gonna talk to. I'm gonna have a one-on-one with the CEO and tell him that he's either gonna give me a raise or he's gonna change my title. Because when I leave this company, I want to be able to show that I have growth. Yeah. And if you don't change my position, they're gonna say, "Why were you with this company for 8 years? The company grew, but you didn't." You know. And I had that conversation eye to eye without a degree. And got that raise. You know, got me a $10,000 raise.
Go, girl.
And you know, it's just like I said, there was two people operating. The imposter syndrome was talking. She was talking her mess, and I was like, "Girl, shut up! Right now."
Right.
And I was still operating in my power, but it did come up for me. I had to have those conversations with myself. But when I realized what it was and who it was easier for me to compartmentalize and realize that was coming from unhealed trauma. That came from when I was a little girl, when people told me that I wasn't pretty enough, or I was too skinny, or I was this or that. And now it's showing up in my adult life. And I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day, that sometimes we allow our childhood self or our little self to show up in our adult situations and react. And we have to know who's in control. Is our little self, who is not healed, doesn't understand, and don't have information, in control? Or are you in control, the person who's healed, knows information and is and can understand this? So we don't realize that.
I'm also in therapy, but on tomorrow, I was going to say on Tuesday, tomorrow I start my first session of grief counseling.
Nice. I did that too. I did grief counseling for my mom.
Yes.
Very helpful.
Yeah, I need it.
I won't tell you the nooks and crannies because it's better to experience it.
But
I was probably the only person in my family that did grief counseling and therapy.
Let me ask you a question. Is it noticeable that you're the only one that did it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't how you say it, put anyone down about it, but that I had to start creating barriers around my healing. Like, I'm not gonna go do all the work. Like, I'm not gonna go in the field and pick all the corn and everybody eat. We're not doing that. I'm gonna do the work, and I'm gonna protect my investment. And so when I feel like folks' unhealed trauma is affecting me, like you said, I know when to take Mona and we be out.
Right. Now, because I've been in therapy for some years, and it gets to a point where it's like talking to a friend, even though you know at the end of this conversation you're going to get some feedback, right? One of the things that I learned about myself in a session that answered all of my life's unanswered questions. My therapist told me that I operate in logic and not in emotion. And I went, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense for everything.
Right.
Everything. It was almost like the wattage on the light bulb was blinding. It made so much sense to me, because when people do stuff in my brain, I'm like,
why they do that?
Right. Why they do that? Yeah. And I don't even get wrapped up in the emotion of it. My thing is the logic.
Yeah.
So I've had
what you said
right. Prior to my marriage, I was married before. And my ex-husband used to cheat. Oh my God, he cheated. So, I mean, like every 2 minutes he was cheating, and he kept getting caught. So I'm just like, you're not really good at this. Why don't you stop? Right?
You keep getting caught.
Like, why don't you stop? And, I tell you that to say, for me, the cheating wasn't my issue. Believe it or not, the act of the infidelity wasn't my issue. It was the fact that you saw someone and it piqued your interest. You gave this person your phone number and started calling and texting them. Then you went out to eat with this person. Then you went to this person's house. And the sex was later.
Right.
And all of the things that you did
Leading
before
up
the
to
sex, you ain't think about me?
Nope.
You ain't think about me not one time. That's the logic. That's the logic. I'm not mad that you did that. I'm mad that you did 50 things before you did that thing and I didn't come across your mind.
Listen, you're preaching. You better stop. I had this one situation where I was with someone and they cheated. And like you said, it wasn't so much of, okay, you cheated. My thing was, okay, you're a single man, I'm a single woman, we're not married, we're dating. If you think that, you want to date around and see other people, okay, fine. Like, let's be clear on that, okay?
Right.
You get to do that. But where I was like, yeah, I need to dismiss myself is when you start introducing her to your mama. When you start introducing her to your sister, when you start introducing her to your niece. Because now, sir, you are building. You're going on vacation. You're building. Like, there's a difference here. We're not on the same. You're not getting to know her and getting to know me. You're ingraining her into your family life, and that's what hurt.
Yeah.
Because now you're wasting my time.
Yeah.
Now you're wasting my time. Because now the best woman won, right? She's the one that you want to be because you're now building something. Whether it leads to marriage or whatever, you have put her in a position to go in that direction.
Right. So let me remove myself. Yeah.
Let me remove. Leave me. Oh no, I don't love her, sir. You not loving her and you integrating her into your family's dynamic. That's not reading the same thing. So you could tell me what you want, but logically, I'm not going to introduce you to my family unless I'm trying to build with you. I'm not going to have you at family functions. I'm not going to, you're not meeting mama and grandma and niece and nephew and all that.
But here's the thing. For women, it's a little bit different. Women are normally the single parent. And when a man dates, he doesn't have to introduce the woman to his children because the children normally live with the woman.
With the mother, yeah.
He can date a woman for a year and she never meet his kids. We're not as fortunate. When we date, the man meets our kids right away because they're in the house.
Sometimes our other family just by chance because they either babysitting the kids and we got to drop the kids off at house or whatever, and they gonna come out see who you with, and, so so to me it was like, nah, bro, I'm not mad about you getting a little butt. What's clear to me is that you're not trying to build with me. I'm trying to build with someone. You can't be trying to build. You can't be putting this person in this situation that I want to be in and expect me to stick around and wait my turn. Like, no.
That's not going to work. Not only is that not going to work.
See, my mom doesn't even like her. My mom loves you.
Yeah, that's not the point.
Don't matter.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
I'm done. We're officially friends. I tapped out. Look, red cross over my face. You get wiped out. I'm done. And he really just could not get why I was upset about that. It's like, oh, yeah, no, you're not getting it. If I'm doing all that, like you said, for us, it's a little different. But when you think about the milestones or things, when you know somebody's somebody in a woman's life, if she's doing that with him, he's somebody.
Right.
When you start, introducing him to the kid's father so they can get to know each other. So there's no, bad, like when you start really taking steps towards building a bond and making your environment make sense, that means you're into this person and you're building. I was like, no, we ain't building. We just humping. Oh, you go ahead and leave me.
Right.
You go ahead and leave me alone on that.
Right. And we're getting older, so we need to make wiser decisions. Better choices.
You don't want to. You want to. Tomorrow is not promised to nobody, and I know that sounds a little cliche, but I don't want to. In regards to that piece of my life, I don't want to spend so much time with someone having control over my time. Right? When I know and I'm clear on this is not aligned with what I want for me. Mm-hmm. This is not aligned for what I want for me, and that's fine. Look, no hard feelings, tap it out. Let's go, have fun. I wish you well, and I'm going to be emotionally hurt. Let me experience my experience. Don't tell me not to hurt, right? I'm gonna experience my experience because it's going to make me stronger.
Right.
But at the same time, allow me to bow out. Don't try to gaslight me into thinking that I'm bugging.
Right.
I ain't bugging.
Right. Right.
And we get so afraid. We get so caught up in the gaslight. You know, I really miss you, girl. You know, I never felt no way about you, about nobody but you.
But you know,
Yeah.
not just that, not just getting caught up in the gaslight. Social media has made people be embarrassed to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't want to say this relationship is not working and we look so good and everybody's gonna be like, what happened? Let me tell you
Yeah.
something. I love my husband. I'm happy with my husband. But if I wasn't, I wouldn't stay because social media might add, you know, I don't want to be embarrassed. I would bounce.
Yeah.
I would bounce because I can't be unhappy. I did that a long time ago. Facebook has been around, what, 16 years now? Maybe 17?
Mm-hmm.
And when it first came out, I got on it. And shortly after it came out, my husband at the time and I were not working out. It took me maybe 6 months to even be honest with myself because I didn't want to remove my status on Facebook. How shallow.
Oh my goodness, that happened to me too. I remember one time I was going through relationship issues, and I used to change my status on Facebook. So one moment, and my cousin, if she watches, she keeps saying sorry about this because I told her what happened. I recently told her, this was years ago. So I was single, and then when I got in a relationship, I put in a relationship, and then when we broke up, I put single, and she was like, "Not again." And ever since then, I stopped putting my status. So no one will know if I'm in a relationship or not on social media. I cringe.
What did she say when you told her? She
was so apologetic. She was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Because she, I believe that she's an older cousin. I believe she meant it in a joking way. She didn't really know how it traumatized me, how it impacted me. And a lot of times, no fault to anyone. Sometimes if we don't express that impact or we don't express how it makes us feel, it's left for assumption, right?
Yes.
She probably thought that joke landed and I kikied about it. She didn't know how it affected me and my behavior. But 15 years later, this is probably around the same time, in the beginning of Facebook, 15 years later, I still do not.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a significant enough relationship to change my status, but I don't feel that I haven't healed that piece of me to be comfortable with changing my status if that time came.
I used to think that it was a jinx because every time I was in a relationship, it didn't last 6 months after I put it. So I stopped putting it. I stopped putting it until I got engaged and married in the same doggone week. I'm telling you.
All right, let's take this time.
I stopped putting it. I'm grateful,
but it's like people don't realize it may seem small, but those things are very impactful, and it comes from that unhealed trauma. When we feel like that, that's another sign of imposter syndrome. Feeling like when in regards to relationship, I'm not good at dating. I'm not good at relationships. I can't keep a man, type of thing. Like, what if a man can't keep me, boo? Like,
right. Hello.
Like, you can't keep a man. No, a man can't keep me.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
He can't keep me.
Right. No, I definitely understand that.
Yeah. So
this has been great.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining. I knew you would bring so much life to the conversation and add on to what we were talking about.
I'm grateful.
Had to jump, unfortunately, but it's cool. I got a lot of footage. Yeah. One day I'll be good at cutting
editing. Yeah, you'll be good. You're good now.
I mean, I know how to do it. It's just so time consuming. And when you're a career woman, you have to prioritize. And although I love what I do, I'm like, you take me as I am.
Okay. Conversation. Unapologetically. Yes, I agree.
All right, my love. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm coming to Texas this year. So
okay.
Get my cowboy girl boots. I'm be like, this ain't Texas.
Come on. Thank you so much for having me.
I was in Dallas in a conference about 3 or 4, before the pandemic.
Okay,
out
okay.
in Dallas. But I think at that time, I don't think we were connected on Facebook really. But yeah, I'm gonna be in Texas. My daughter she's obsessed with Beyonce. So if I take her to Texas, she gonna think she's connected to Beyonce.
Bring her. That would be awesome. I live like 2 hours. I live like 2.5 hours from Dallas, so it's nothing.
What? Well, you can tell me that later.
I'm in Killeen. It's okay. I'm in Killeen.
Killeen? Oh, okay. Killeen. That's
I'm by a military base.
Okay. All right. Killeen, military. All right. Yeah. But I'll let you know when I'm coming through there. Probably like towards before the fall. So
okay.
Like late summer.
That sounds amazing. I love you, girl.
I'm getting my cowgirl. I'm wearing my hair just like this for my hat.
That's on. Cute. I was gonna tell you that I like that on you. That's cute.
Yeah, this is this is when the hairstyle getting a little old though. But everybody's saying,
cute.
That
is cute.
This is how I wore my hair in high school. They used to call me Mousy because of my nose.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
All right.
Well, look, love, I will holler at you. Let me know when the next one, and I'll be on time. You have my word.
It's cool. Sorry. All right. Talk to you soon.
Later, love. All right.